Benin Kingdom, home of Edo people, rose in power and might to become one of the most prosperous empires in the forest region of Africa. Benin Kingdom's second monarchical era began in the 13th century and became a regional imperial power in the 15th century and the most renowned empire in Africa. The king was known as Oba. He was revered as a demigod, feared and powerful. His word was law. Interestingly, scholars and visitors have since the 15th century been fascinated and intrigued by the sophistication of Benin's social and political structures, which guaranteed internal peace, progress, and stability. Benin Kingdom has been globally famous for its magnificent artworks, mainly in bronze, wood, and ivory. The Portuguese explorers, who were the first Europeans to visit Benin City in 1472, were particularly stunned by the sophistication of our political and social structures, the creativity and ingenuity of the people, particularly in Benin artworks. In actual fact, these works were far more than aesthetic and decorative artistic creations in the Benin court. They were indeed records of Benin history and civilization. And more significantly, they were religious and spiritual expressions that defined more broadly the Benin worldview. Benin Empire, at a zenith, extended into Yoruba territory in the west, including Lagos, Igala in the north, the Niger River to the east, and the creeks of the West Niger Delta to the south. The British expansionist invasion of Benin in 1897, or what is derisively called the Benin Punitive Expedition, stripped the Oba of his immense powers and sovereignty. The British ruled roughshod through what she regarded as her sphere of influence and interest until an amalgamation was contrived from the territories north and south of the Niger to make Nigeria a convenient reality. Expectedly, Benin Kingdom began to experience a slow and steady decline after British invasion and conquest in 1897. The audacious disruption of the relatively smooth process that was delivering steady growth and development for the kingdom was to have monumental impact on the psyche of the people and the kingdom for a very long time. Ethnographic researchers have explored many aspects of Benin Kingdom for better insights, but not much has been done in the area of the dress forms of the Benin people before the advent of the Portuguese and later British. Thus, it is a common axiom among the people that Ebokiri Amaru Ebogede, which means literally that before the advent of Europeans, we didn't go naked.
Mama gele panwa odugunga e maya agwepa. Mara me erani dide so na palo ipapa ado gbe. Okun ro aya no walo ohun ete no ro re okun wa han were do wadi okun so we no so okun ni aya ese itobi aya ese ebuluku ave ya ese adago aya ese aidwe be no sa ya ro igbukun ami mi no ma ye e ma no boso e ke va be Oba ibiogie ave okante okan wu mi re edo yin ave ya ru ewa na ya bi e
o ka wo Maga ye ne do te o huen ni ipakwe na no kwa no irani gada pa lo o me be ne do wi ya dun me he o ga do amurun ukmoni wa we yun ku en serio we amamie ayo no.
The Benin cloth was, by the 17th century, became an essential part of our export trade. Benin was actually exporting 150,000 yards of cloth for more than 100 years. So our form of dressing depends on the occasion. You tie the cloth around the neck. You tie the cloth on your waist. You wear the voluminous enyo for ceremonial purpose. That is the purpose of the unit. Or high, you use the cloth to enhance your personality.
However, one of the most significant symbols of the glorious era of Benin sovereignty is the markings and scarification on the body of adult citizens to which the kingdom attached immense cultural value. It was called EWU. Put succinctly, EWU refers to a particular form of body markings or scarification system that was developed by Edo people for the primary purpose of national identification.
We started during the time of EWU-IWU the first. After the death of two children of EWU-IWU the first, Kobo-Yuwara and Zuwara.
During the reign of Prince Ogun Noriewai Ogidika in the 15th century, he had his son, Kobo-Yuwa, as the first Idaiken of Uselu. He had another son, Zuwara, who he installed as Enogi of Ijowa. These two sons loved themselves, sons born to him by the same mother. Zuwara, because he was in the outskirts of Benin, Edo, he was a great farmer and occasionally went hunting. Kobo-Yuwa appeared to be more enlightened because of the love he had for his brother. He thought he could ease his method of farming. He decided to send some farm implements to Zuwara to assist him in farming. But this was misinterpreted by his brother, Zuwara, the Enugu of Ijowa, saying, "Oh, Moedigwe. Meaning, my brother now see me as a rustic. Oh, I don't blame him." He didn't keep it to himself. He communicated his grievance to his brother, to his father. The two brothers became enemies.
The Benin mask markings or scarifications are known in Benin language as EWU. EWU was the kind of identity of the Benin person. They were known for this EWU, which they made on their bodies, and it was very easy anywhere to identify a Benin person wherever he or she is.
The markings represented the outward evidence of Edo adulthood and citizenry of Edo Kingdom.
The body marking was made to identify the Benin man at the height of the kidnapping and was occasioned by the transatlantic slave trade. Then again, another group says that it was the injury that was sustained by Henry at the Battle of Owo that led to the body markers. But I don't buy that at all, because first and foremost, the Oba is fully dressed in armor. Or women also, it's either wearing chainmail, which came from North Africa, or wearing the standard British armor. It is gilded, that if he comes out, he looks like a god. So the possibility of his injury in a battle is out of it completely. So my sincere belief is that the body marking came up as the empire expanded, and it was now used as an identity for the average Benin person. I've seen photographs of the king's representative, the viceroys in as far as Lagos, wearing the Benin body marking. And if you look at our art, the plaques, it is also indicated.
Before the ascension of Oba Akinzuwa II, the Edochie's formal outfit was Iwu design on the upper half of the body, adorned with a string or two of round coral bead necklaces called Ikele. This was the Benin chief's top outfit. His cap consisted of his natural hair, hipped up in front like inverted half moon called Ugwakpata. The hairdo was and still is for chiefs only. The lower part of the body, from the waistline down to the ankles, was covered with wrapper worn in formalized shape. The former shape of the wrapper is called Enyo.
The chiefs, naturally, they dress with Enyo. If you want to go to the palace or anywhere, Enyo, and then leave bare the rest of the chest upward. Nothing. So that was the traditional Benin dress.
Benin is a stratified society, it's a class society, and there are clothes for different kinds of grades. The nobilities and royalties, they had a particular kind of dress. It is often said in Benin, or Vien Taba, you can't be a plebeian and dress like an Oba or a chief. People will ask questions. And especially for the chiefs, it was a special kind of dress. And for the rich people who are in a class of their own, the igbu was made from the bark of a tree. And I told you that Benin had the idea of weaving cloth even before the advent of colonialism or contacts with Europeans. So this igbu was used by especially nobilities to throw in the Roman fashion, across the shoulders, or to get around the waist like a loincloth. They call it a nyo. And for the nobilities, they were distinguished by what is called a hairstyle called wakpata. That is, leaving some part of the front and the back is completely shaven. And of course, they had some adornments like beads.
Beyond the imperative of tribal identification, particularly during an era when intertribal wars were both rife and commonplace, Iwu mirrored gender and power, chastity and aesthetic values, as well as nobility and class, and above all, it became a symbol of cultural pride and national identity.
Akure folk historian Chief J. Atandare, in his book, EWU-IWU Akure, also stated that one thing they discovered with the Benins, especially during their wars and in those areas, is that the Benins knew how to use those marks to recognize their fellow Benins, and because of that one, the Benins were spared in the wars, whereas those people who did not have those marks were easily identified as non-Benin's, and so enemies who could be disposed of in whatever way or dealt with. So that shows how significant it was.
The process was meaningless. It was not. It was important. It shows that you are manly, that you are brave, that you are somebody that can protect the entire community. Protect the entire community. So you are always respected in the community because of the pains you went through.
And it will become a mark of respect to any Benin man. Mark of respect. When you see, when you put your body and yes, you are allowed to enter any place. You are proud to have it. A slave can make an Igbo, and once it does that, it's free. But if you have people you are brought from somewhere who are slaves, captured from other ethnic groups and brought, they don't have tattoo, and they can be sold.
Everybody in Benin belongs to one society or the other at that time. And all this society gravitated toward the palace. So when a Benin at Yerigmo, has to see.
EWU surgical procedure was conducted by professionally trained traditional surgeons known as OSIWU, with the knowledge of analgesic management protocols. For instance, the medicinal preparations available to the OSIWU included the anti-bleeding preparations, anti-pain preparations, and cosmetic healing.
Major Egbon was my uncle. He was an OSIWU. He had EWU. The EWU we are talking about now, these stripes, the black stripe, the EWU is a natural mark that you give to a person, both male and female.
The training period for an OSIWU was as long as 3 years of apprenticeship, after which the trainee would be graduated and called OSIWU. Highly efficacious pre-operative and post-operative herbal preparations available speak to an impressive degree of medical practice in ancient Benin Kingdom.
OSIWU evaramie okpara ebeba okpara okpa obera okpa dega na siwu ne ho no hi mia no do yama yo egbe ebi pin ori oyo ya we ori tele no na te ahini.
EWU was a significant element in the Benin ethnographic presentation. Thus, it was a highly valued fashion due to its beautiful design. It was indeed so significant that no one was admitted into the palace societies without the acquisition of EWU body markings.
You don't tattoo, but you are not a Benin man. You can be ostracized, and you are not allowed to see the Oba at all.
Those markings, it was a symbol of identity. It was a symbol of beauty. It was a symbol of patriotism. In the olden days, you can't touch the Oba if you are not tattooed or designed or marked.
In 1929, Ajayi Igumbo, one of the few educated Benins at the time in question, announced his intention of full membership of the Iwebo Palace Society to Omonoba Eweka II. The monarch asked him, "Have you acquired EWU body markings?" The following day, Ajayi Igumbo visited OSIWU Oka at his Igun Street residence to fulfill the obligation.
Another aspect of the body markings and designs is that there were some that Oba ordered to be marked. Apart from being an honor, it means it has a relationship with the king.
Generally, EWU was administered to mark the transition from adolescent to adulthood, and usually as the last rite before marriage. It was exciting and fulfilling for a family member to watch a maiden from their family being prepared for marriage, wearing highly unique and elegantly decorative family EWU on the exposed part of the belly, chest, and face.
Even the women too, before they are married, they do that EWU.
The essential areas of a girl at puberty of her body, like body markings. They put on ladies' breasts, they put on hidden parts of their body and cover them with akpolo, jigida, or waist beads.
When she comes to the age of puberty, she is bound to go and see you. She must meet the doctors, the physician, whatever it is, or she must undergo that something, because she cannot be taken like that to the husband without you. It was compulsory. That is why I was under habit. The cost of EWU is borne by the parents of the we have to be, not the suitor, not the husband. But after finishing, there is a day, and the big successful one. The suitor to be is bound to run that part.
EWU was designed to uniquely identify kinsfolks, slaves, and freeborn. The royalty had their special EWU design. Oba Akenzua, under whose long-reign EWU acquisition was liberalized, wore beautiful royal EWU markings.
If you look at our art, the plaques, it is also indicated. You see versions of the markings from those of the chiefs to those of the Omwada, to those of Iberia, the girl that served the queens and the jewelry.
Apart from just identifying the Benin people, they had families that were able to distinguish themselves by their pattern of body markings, like that of the Oba now. The royal family, they carry 6 body markings, that is the male, while the female carry 15 body markings. Then the freeborns, those ones, the males carry 7 body markings, while the females carry 16 body markings.
The Ika people of present-day Delta State, one of the territories over which Benin exercised sovereignty, also enjoy the privilege of EWU markings on their body.
This EWU was later practiced by a very nearby communities, Black War and other people, the San people and so on. Though their own is a bit different from ours.
People who make this clarification went as far to the Benin communities in places like Akure, Tagolu, and all those places, so that they can have the mark, so that before they can come and to Benin to take title.
In spite of the medicinal herbal preparations, a surgical procedure was doubtlessly a painful experience. It was a test of grit and valor. some citizens were stone scared. A patient was allowed a bath of special soap and water 4 days after surgery and every 3 days thereafter until the EWU had completely healed, usually 14 days after procedure.
Agarrue ke kanunda mengwane ke rue. Omobalo. Inu inone. Ai vionge okpo ogewe dumweku. Ave vion lubona. Ino po ni riri kai. Igbe we gari ya. Onu di ma, imi avion egbe, una ape, orereriye, oni egbe no ri a. Uwazu egbe. Don wa du via mani na kugbe ete mari. Amere ayape. Dona ayape tan we amere ayape. Agi eton ogbe. Nege molo, nege kugbe, avi gani, ge yarwa. Have no doubt, have no day.
The boldness, the gallantry of an African. In those days, if a female, elderly female, then, or young female, say, we no see who. What that means is you are not a man. You couldn't endure the pains of those processes. If you can endure that, you can endure anything.
This will cause some that dangerous because they were doing it in a crude and unscientific manner. So many people now were running away from it. They didn't want to do it again. And no man was bothered whether his wife underwent or not. It was no longer his business. So the thing started to deteriorate until finally, before we got to the reign of Diawa, I think it has gone into extinction.
It was very popular, although it was a painful beautifying mark. Painful. Many people lost their lives when it started newly.
When you say oh my yeme, tama yeme man kwa na tie ka no bi obie ni avera me gba obie rokpa o si me la dia o do si wu ina we si ina we an wo ba logbo ina le yeme pa was si wu.
The British came to Africa with an ideology, namely reject everything Africa and make Africans buy into the idea that everything European was superior in order to subjugate the African mind. In Benin, the British regarded the Benin culture and tradition with contempt and suspicion. EWU body markings, once cherished as the most important aspect of Benin culture up to about 1935, began to fall into a fading tide and was inexorably abandoned. EWU began to fall into disuse and abandonment due largely to the advent of colonialism.
Not be out of place to say the Europeans saw this as the way the Benin's dress as some form of nudity.
And from the cultural observations, because I visited very many of their cultural festivals, I realized that we had deliberately, maybe through ignorance, subjugated ourselves in this part of the world to the superior thinking of some other persons in other parts, like Europeans, that we were, as it were, inferior.
Two watershed events which occurred in sequence substantially attest to this fact. Namely, Oba Akenza II ascended the throne of his fathers in 1933. He was an alumnus of King's College, Lagos. In 1934, he traveled to Lagos for the opening of the Yaba Higher College. In 1935, few months after the Lagos event, the then outgoing colonial governor of Nigeria, Sir Donald Cameron, paid valedictory visit to Benin City. Both events exposed the Benin chief's traditional wardrobe and brought to the fore a strong need to create a non-traditional wardrobe for the Benin monarch. The chief political officer, resident of Benin province, Mr. G.A. Williams, upon intimation of these concerns, took great interest in the matter. A flurry of activities was set in motion in response to the exigency. At the end of the search, Oba Akenzo settled for a design that was inspired by the priestly cassock and was named Eziokere. It is the elegant, chiefly attire of today, with the covering of EWU body markings by the adopted modern outfit for the Oba and the chiefs of the kingdom. EWU became vestigial in function and gradually lost its appeal. While there were other factors that facilitated the fading tide of EWU, it is the acceptance and adoption of a modern non-traditional attire which covered up EWU body markings that was the masterstroke.
When Akenzo came to the throne in 1933, he felt that civilization was gradually coming, especially when he had to attend meetings of the traditional rulers at Ibadan. We were under Ibadan. You take an old man from here to Ibadan, half naked, they will look odd when they come to other traditional rulers.
EWU, a once cherished cultural obligation, finally lost its relevance. There are probably a handful of individuals alive today wearing EWU markings, but this project could not locate anyone still wearing these body markings. With the abandonment of EWU practice and the lack of common dress code for Edo people, a case of crisis of identity became the lot of a people who for centuries boasted of a history of uncommon accomplishments. Edo people resolved the dilemma temporarily by adopting the dress form of other tribes within the pan-Nigerian cultural space.
When we were young men, there's competition among women particularly, and even men, that this is the new style. We used to go to Sapele to steal what was the new style of dressing. Sapele people, they are near the water, and all the sheep from overseas then used sapele pots. So sapele was social. Apart from Lagos, Port Harcourt, sapele was the next social spot in Nigeria. So we all even left Benin here for a ball dance in sapele almost every Saturday, because the social life there was very high. So when we go there, we see what the new trend of dressing, and we buy them. We get somebody to come and spy it and make the same thing. 18 inches or whatever it is. Those were the days when that one was in vogue. It came in the 50s that a Benin boy who had been at Sapele before went to England to learn tailoring. His name was Osagbovo. Osagbovo the tailor. Then if you want to dress fully like Englishmen, because we were under the English people, you have what they call tuxedo.
Without a doubt, Edo people were too socially advanced and innovative to put up with such condescension. The elites felt challenged and they deeply searched inwards for self-rediscovery. And indeed, there was light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, many Benin people, particularly the men, kept on coming to the palace to say that they wanted dress of identity that they could wear to public functions. Earlier on, we encouraged them that they could use the wrapper thrown over the shoulders, as was done by our forefathers. And we tried to impress on them that Rabbi Mokpa was doing that, and Chief Igbe, now the Yase, was doing that. So we couldn't see why they couldn't be throwing their wrapper on their shoulders. That an ethnic group in Ghana does that. When they couldn't see it as something convenient to easily adopt, a man like Dr. Asien Kagosa went into his library.
The Yoruba dress, which we describe as a modified desert Arab dress. Agbada, because it's desert Arab, that is their dress, but modified by the Yorubas. So we asked, this modified desert Arab dress, would that be the dress of the Edo people?
It was during this visit, royal visit, that he noticed that, you know, all the other ethnic groups in Nigeria had their national attire, and that it was only the Edo people, the Benin people, that didn't have one. He saw that the Hausas had theirs, the Yorubas had theirs, the Urobos had theirs. So when he came back, that set him thinking. So when he came back, he noticed that there was a vacuum that had to be filled in terms of a national dress for the Edo people. So in fact, when he started drawing and calling tailors, to be honest, at first I thought it was a joke. And finally, he came out with something.
Father of blessed memory.
mana supoyo maiwe amuari ari egwa we are correct e can afford to be you I will do imadu ya na we perfect.
EWU was formally launched at the Oba Palace on November 14, 1986. EWU, because the markings or traditional body scarification were designed and printed on the fabric instead of the skin. This artificial method serves as a means of retaining the tradition and making it attractive to the new generation. Speaking at the formal launch of EWU, the then Iyase of Benin, Honorable Justice S.O. Igodawu, had this to say: wearing EWU, the modern Benin man would look exactly as his ancestor did 350 or more years ago, if one discountenanced the fabric of the tunic. That the identity and symbolism of the Edo man was substantially retained all through the ages underscores the significance of EWU. Iwu and EWU in the consciousness of an Edo man strikes a historical chord of unbreakable intercession which redefines Edo ethnographic presentation.
The Palace of the Oba of Benin requested that this type of thing be created because we, the Benin people, really didn't have anything by which we were differentiated from the other tribes. The Benin people adopted the Agbada, which came from Yoruba land, and the Agbada even came from the north, from the Muslims in the north. The Hausas adopted by the Yorubas, and then we, the Benin people, after we were conquered by Britain, we became a colony, and Nigeria was formed. We then adopted this Agbada that the Yorubas had elaborated from the Hausa people in the north. Now, the Chekiris also have their own way of dressing. When you saw a Chekiri man or woman, you will know immediately that he is a Chekiri man. The Urhobo have their own way of dressing. If you saw an Urhobo man dressing the way that the Urhobo man dresses, you will know immediately that he comes from Urhobo land, either Wugili or Agon or whatever. The Jaws also have their own way of dressing. Even the Calabar people had their own way of dressing. And the Igbos were also elaborating their own way of dressing. But the Benin man was wearing the Agbada of the Yorubas. So, many people were asking the Oba of Benin to try and see into it so that we, the Benin people, will also have something that when we put it on, we will be recognized immediately as Benin.
Today, the sighting of EWU in Pan-Nigeria socio-cultural space confers an immediate sense of pure tradition and culture at its finest.
As a Yoruba man, I like this attire because first, it's a symbol of our culture. You know, it represents everything good about our culture, symbolized here by the Benin culture. And the thing looks good on me. I mean, I feel cool with myself. Now, it's not every time that you put rope on your neck and tie, right? This is what we should wear. With this, I can't get lost anywhere in the world.
Immediately after the launch, I took interest in it. When I was in council, I seemingly made it my official dress as councillor. So all through my tenure as councillor, it was this dress I was wearing. I had them in about 8 colors.
EWU has gained unprecedented level of popularity and admiration in recent years amongst the diverse people of Nigeria across age and class barriers. Indeed, the regal and elegant cultural outfit is admirably in tune with the demands of political, business, and social lifestyles. It has found renewed flourish beyond imagination among Edo people and other Nigerians at home and abroad. Anywhere and anytime someone adorns Iwo dress in a group, that individual will be set apart in grace, dignity, and nobility. At such times, the Edo spirit of conquest and accomplishment swells up a sense of cultural identity and pride.
And design that shit, huh? So that
It is difficult to find somebody having it on his or her body now, but we still have it on as we now wear it in attires, different attires.
Going to occasion, you want to stand out among the best. Iwo dressing should be your very best attire. Not all tailors that can make it. There are special tailors for it, especially those trained for it. Like for me, I was trained by Dr. Asian. He gave me the insight and the direction of how to make this Iwo dressing.
If you lose your identity, you become nothing. You'll be a pebble among the diamonds, not a diamond in the pebbles. I've bought over 100 for foreigners and people that are in my shrines abroad, and they give it publicity.
Let it be strongly noted, however, that the markings of Iwo are distinctly identifiable vertical strokes such as Ariokpa, Adeseko, Abe, and Owiwu. Ada and Ebe are Edo swords of state depicting power and authority. It is wrong to imprint Ada and Ebe on a fabric in the name of Iwo. It is an aberration.
Like we have the cow, that one is marked facially. Then you have the Ogale Y that carries the spear, worn by the Isiameru group. Then you have the Owiwu for the freeborn. Then you have the Agbaguda that comes by the sides. So these are 4 distinct Iwo markings to identify the Benin people.
If I may, John B. If I may not know where on where no pata togase. Anyway, that was it. Or deal. Here, a Benuna Mion, Ganana Simu. We bewa, we are Sakano, so go back.
Fortunately, people have not been careful enough to actually follow his design. I see that dress now. Sometimes the people will put Ada and Ebe. We need to maintain the design. But right now, it's so corrupted. The way people are doing it, they don't follow those patterns.
On a note of joy, it is salutary that wisdom and creativity, for which Edo people are famous, has restored the ancient practice of Iwo in the form that it flourishes today. when the fabric of the tunic is discountenanced, the modern Edo man is a replica of his ancestors. Edo patriots like Oba Eridiawa, Dr. Ehagosa Aisien, and others who worked their hearts out to gift generations unborn EWU will forever be honored and celebrated in the hearts of Edo people. Their ingenuity, creativity, and hard work has given practical expression to the saying that Edo is Siagbon. Edo is the center of the world.